Choo choo! Choo choo! Chugga 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 chugga! Ah! Millions are dead!
Yeah, I can kind of agree with that. There've actually been several instances where... Fuck, this is delicious. There have been several instances over the course of my quote-unquote channel lifespan, whatever the fuck you want to call it, where I legitimately thought I was gonna bleed out subscribers like Flynn or other people. Like, one example that really comes to mind for me is when the developers when they responded to me on Twitter, or that fucking, obviously I'm gonna talk about the chat moderator video. Uh, this happened when I was still living in Japan, yeah, and I was just fucking sleeping, like, obviously like regular normal day. My phone starts going off like crazy, and it woke me up because it was like 3 in the morning when it happened. Check my phone, it's literally just excuse me, a shitload of Twitter notifications. I'm like, oh god, what happened? Then I'm like, oh, it's the video. How's it doing? First thing I notice, Steve, Rebecca, Megan, and Pablo all at the front, like literally within minutes of each other. I'm like, oh god, it started. I was, I think fear is too strong of a word. Concerned.
Nervous.
Yeah. Like, am I really gonna get fucking shit? Am I really gonna get the fucking shit treatment just because I literally just said what's happening? Is that how it is? But then the community is, yeah. But then the community was like, yeah, no, this is fucking retarded. And I'm like, thank the gods that I didn't get shut down. Because honestly, if I'm gonna get canceled for literally just saying nothing but facts, then I don't fucking know, man. I don't even make any money off YouTube. I literally just do this because I like the game. But if I'm gonna get canceled just for literally saying shit how it is, which is shit, that's problematic.
Yeah, what do you call it? That's kind of what took me by surprise because, especially back, well, sort of back when you did that, maybe a little bit beforehand, but the White Knights with Warframe in general, like those guys are relentless. So it really is actually kind of a achievement that you were able to call out facts like you did and still have the community behind you.
Honestly, I think most of them have left by now because they even are starting to realize that the game's just not that fun anymore.
Oh yeah, I get way less White Knights these days just because there ain't none left.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can't they can't even try to make up a reason why the bullshit that's going on is okay anymore at this point.
I'm perfectly fine with that, honestly.
Yeah, I sure as fuck ain't gonna miss them.
Yeah.
But boy, especially right now with the whole Scarlet Spirit thing going on, that these DE is just making so many knee-jerk nerfs right now going on just for this stupid event that everyone hates.
The dumb thing is, although everyone for the most part is like fine that they're reverting the core nerf and they're doing a bunch of other stuff in that dev workshop that they put out. The one thing that I'm just sitting over here still concerned about is they flat out had no problem nerfing Korra, and even though they're like, yeah, it's an exploit. It's an exploit. We're fixing an exploit. That's not the problem. The problem I see is they had no problem changing a Warframe permanently because of a timed event.
Exactly. They like these are long-term changes that they're putting in for this limited thing going on.
Like, honestly, if they just said, "Hey guys, just quick hotfix, we're going to only for this event disable or modify the abilities of some warframes in order to make it as challenging as we envision." If it was just like timed or just for that in event only, okay, fine, whatever.
That,
Some people are gonna be mad about it, but whatever. It's not the entire fucking game. But
yeah,
no,
it's a
just
temporary
across the
thing.
board nerf. No, that's ridiculous.
Like with Limbo's case right now, I'm not a Limbo main by any stretch of the imagination. This is the first time I ever touched him really, but the fact still stands. Like Limbo's whole freeze time ability thing is officially sentient proof, or sentients are immune to it now. And
Hmm.
it's like, again, if that was just for the event, then yeah, sure, I get that. Like kind of like Kind of like way back when with Ember and how she could melt down the Plague Star thing, or what's called.
Uh, they're referring to when they said that they were nerfing Ember's World on Fire because she trivializes content, even though the only reason people were playing her was to speedrun exterminate missions.
We call it no, it was before that when
Oh,
we call it her three back when it was just like this little fire ring that she would pop out.
Accelerant? I don't play Ember. I don't fucking know.
I don't remember what it's called either. It's you comboed it with Accelerator, but basically it was just this little ring that she puts out made of fire that did constant damage to whoever touched it.
Mm,
Plague Star, the Lephantis, that's what it's called, or the Hemocyte. That was it. Basically, what you would do is you would put that ring in between all three of the heads, and it would pop them all at once, essentially.
and
And
now we
that's
have a
kind of
Kuva Brahma, which can just one shot anything. Excuse me.
yeah. But the point stands, like they perma nerfed her ability to do that just for the event, and that was okay because it's like okay, that makes sense. You don't want to just put down a fire ring just to kill a boss for you. But that's a sensible thing. But unlike that, with this whole limbo thing, they basically perma made the whole time freeze. They made sentience permanently immune to the whole time freeze thing, which means for a lot of people, unless limbo is just like their favorite warframe, whatever, there no one's going to take limbo to do sentient content anymore.
Yeah, one thing I never really understood is they release something and they literally never touch it again until the time comes when people start using it either because they realize it's actually really good or because it's meta for something. Like when the Amisha Arcwing, yeah?
Yeah,
So if you look at the patch history for it, um D literally did not even touch it apart from for bug fixes since they released it. They nerfed it, or at least they changed it when the Amesha became meta when Railjack came out.
right.
So
And
it brings up
it
the
wasn't
question
even
of why are you changing it now if you never touched it? So the design of it, it's fine. The problem is you treat it like it's not fine because it's like the perfect counter to something else you made, which honestly reminds me surprisingly a lot of League of Legends, where at least in the professional scene, where they mostly just pick like out of the same fucking pool of the 20 same champions, just that shit every single fucking game in the competitive scene. But then every once in a while, some oddball pick will come along that is that defines the new meta, and the developers will adapt and just start nerfing the shit out of the champion, even if they hadn't touched it for years prior, which is honestly kind of ridiculous because the design is fine. It just seems overpowered or too overtuned because something else it can be used in is trivialized, quote unquote.
right. And going back to the Amesha thing, like it wasn't even it was being used so much, not even because it was like overpowered or anything, but just because everything in the Railjack or all the fighters in Railjack use hit scan weapons. So people were basically getting sniped from across the damn map because their Arcwings don't have health or armor for shit. So Mesha was basically the only way you could leave the Railjack and stay alive for 2 seconds.
And also because they were fast as shit, and it was your only real way of slowing them down, apart from Void Hole. But honestly, who the fuck is gonna use Void Hole? I mean, it's
Who the
not
fuck?
bad, but it's
Who the
not.
fuck
It's
even
a
has Void Hole? It has like a 0.2% drop chance.
You could buy it off the market technically,
That's how you
but
get most of the mods or Arcwings or whatever.
yeah, fucking don't even grind for anything in Railjack. Just buy it off the market, super easy. But yeah, a mesh out was a better choice than Void Hole. Not because Void Hole's not bad; it's actually pretty good. It's just why spend Railjack resources on one thing when you can just pop out of Railjack and spam energy at slowing down enemies. Or not even because it's not a one and done ability. It's not a spam ability. It's literally one and done because it's a channeled ability. If I remember right.
Right. I don't know. Like it's that's kind of just that kind of just goes back in hand. Like again, like it's this whole knee jerk reaction that the keeps having about just everything regarding because what they do is they look at the numbers of how much something is used. They don't take the time to look at why it's being used, why what are the circumstances to why X Warframe weapon, Arcwing, etc. is being used the most. They just see a little chart that says, "Oh, hey, this thing went up this thing's usage went up like 2,000%. Something must be OP or broken about it. Let's nerf it.
Sounds about right.
Because I remember that's what they always show. It's always a chart about usage, a usage chart, and they never take a second to actually explain like this is why this is being used because they don't take the time to do check anything really at this point.
And
They don't quality check anything.
it's funny because the other day, I was forwarded a clip from that one Warframe documentary that No Clip did a year or two ago. One particular scene where Scott said something along the lines of, uh, "We recognize that the players latch onto things in particular," and they brought up coptering as an example. How like people started running around with like dual Zorin and Thibodeau because it had like really high slide attack modifiers, and they could literally just copter around the entire fucking map in like one swing. So
Yeah,
Scott was saying, um, instead of just flat out tuning something down and saying, no, this isn't how we want you to play. We try to adapt what the players want with our vision and try to reinforce what they want to do. And that's kind of how we came up with bullet jumping. I'm like, that's adorable. But then this was 2 years ago. Now think to today, where fucking people were running around with Limbo and Korra, and both of them got nerfed.
yeah, like that DE from 2 3 years ago is a completely different company than it is today.
Hmm.
Like I don't. This is kind of said like in my last video. Like I don't know if it's because I don't know if it's like some third party company, whoever owns them at this point, maybe is making a behind the curtain decisions that they're not allowed to talk about, or if it's just some sort of what's the word disagreement in between management. But someone somewhere has old DE by the balls, and they can't do anything about it because as I'm sure like like you and me and several other partners know, you know this is not why we joined or even played Warframe at this point or anymore. Like if we were new players coming into the game now, do you think we would have been half as invested into it as we are now?
Doubt it.
So it's like something or someone did something and changed something that made it to where the game is in the pitiful state it's in nowadays.
Yeah, kind of funny how I came in. I want to say I started playing Warframe like the second year of high school, downing at least like 7 hours per day, including during school days, mind you, like at least 6 7 hours per day. Now I'm over here just fucking praising the hell out of Final Fantasy 14. I'm like, Warframe is there too, I guess. Like Jesus fucking Christ, I'm actually kind of mad I hopped on Final Fantasy 14 this late.
I don't know. I've been playing it for about a year ish now.
How
We
far
call it.
are you in terms of shit you have leveled?
Oh, I have two tanks to 80, machinist is at 80, and a bunch of 50s to 60s all over the place.
Mm. Any relics
But
yet? Because supposedly they're gonna come out with patch 5.25 this Tuesday, Wednesday. Supposedly it's gonna bring the quest line for the Shadowbringer relics.
yeah, that's what I heard. I haven't done the Heaven's Ward or ARR relics yet because God, those are a to-do list.
I'm actually doing the Heavensward one right now just for Astrologian because I literally just want it for glamour. I'm not even gonna use it.
Yeah, that's I think that's what most people use it for. But
Yeah,
I kind of want to do the Dragoons one and maybe Dark Knights, but again, it's just God, that's so much. There's so much to do to get those done.
I have a really weird love-hate relationship with Dark Knight where I normally hate like the quote-unquote edge lord classes, like in Dungeon Fighter Online. I hated Dark Knight. World of Warcraft, I hated Death Knight. Guild Wars 2, I hated Necromancer. But and the same thing kind of applies in Final Fantasy where uh I hate Dark Knight. It's not bad. I just don't like the edgelord appeal. But I played through the job quest and oh my fucking god, I loved it so much.
Is easily the best job quest in the game,
I
and
know,
I'll fight
right? Oh
anyone who
my
says
fucking
otherwise.
god. Whoever whoever the fuck wrote the story for the Dark Knight quest storyline needs a raise. Like holy fucking shit.
Like that whole thing could have been put into the main story. Like it would have fit in so well.
Yeah, but that was like, oh my fucking god, it was, or at least so far, it's like the one fucking job that actually made me interested in it. Otherwise, every other single one was just like skip, 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 skip. Like God, it's fucking amazing. But yeah, I still don't really play fucking Dark Knight. I literally just got Dark Knight the 80 and I just stopped playing it.
They call it. I'm a Dark Knight main, so of course I play the most. But yeah,
I thought you were a warrior main, honestly.
no, I mean I'm a tank main, so that kind of narrows it down to the four. But Warrior's pretty cool, but they don't really pick up till like 60s.
The only tank that I actually have fun playing is Gunbreaker.
Gunbreaker is pretty interesting because they don't hit hard, but they hit a lot.
Isn't it
They're
because
freaking.
they're literally just like a hybrid DPS tank?
You look at their whole design, their character. You look at their models, their design, their combat design. They wanted it to be a DPS, but then they were like, we only have three tanks, so we probably should make it a tank.
Fuck it, they should have made it a healer because we still only have three.
I think the next one's supposed to be a healer. Next class coming out.
I'm guessing that the next healer they're gonna make is gonna be a Geomancer because they kind of teased that in the quest line for, or in the job quest line for Astrologian.
I'm thinking. Well, have you done Eden's Gate raids yet?
No, I have not.
Okay, so I can't really go into detail without spoiling anything, but I'm pretty sure a type of like another kind of melee magic type thing is gonna be coming out pretty soon.
Melee magic? You mean kind of like Red Mage?
Kind of like Red Mage, but instead of a rapier, it's gonna be a hammer.
That's weird as fuck. I'm guessing it's gonna be, if it's a hammer, it's probably gonna be inspired kind of like how in the level 50 dungeon from the main storyline, the Praetorium, yeah, Praetorium. When you have the boss fight against Nero, I'm thinking it's gonna be based off that, judging by how you're wording it.
Maybe, but like I said, I can't really go into detail without spoiling Eden's Gate, and that's an actually. I'm pretty sure it's gonna tie into the upcoming expansion, so yeah, I can't spoil anything.
Fair. I wasn't gonna ask for spoilers anyway. Not really a fan.
Hmm,
Back to
But
Warframe. Fucking.
yeah.
It's interesting how, at least in Final Fantasy XIV, they have the static triangle of like DPS, healer, and tank. Whereas in Warframe, uh, obviously that doesn't apply because it's a completely different genre. But is it just me, or is it just tank over literally everything else?
Pretty much. I mean, we call even the quote unquote healers in Warframe being like Oberon and Trinity and some would argue Harrow. I mean, every Warframe in the game is a walking nuclear bomb, so to say. So it's like you don't need damage, you don't need health in a lot of cases. You just need the closest thing to invulnerability you can get.
Which back
So
in the day was basically Loki. Nowadays, it's just an Aros.
Naros and whatever other Warframe you can put 1,000 armor on.
Valkyr, maybe Nidus, but he's more of a health tank than an actual armor tank. And I'm gonna say Atlas or Baruch if you're adventurous.
Yeah,
Everyone else is just there,
just
especially
there.
Hydroid.
What do you call it? I can't I can't think of a good segue to this, but one thing I was thinking about last night was like, the biggest problem with Warframe right. Well, there's 1,000 biggest problems with Warframes right now, but one of the biggest problems with Warframe is simply that there is too many damn weapons and arguably Warframes now at this point.
They're gonna keep adding more like a MOBA, I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, because at this point, leveling weapons is the game at this point.
Yeah,
But like you know how in Final Fantasy there, especially at level 50, there's 1,001 different weapons for every class.
yeah,
And for the most part, we just use them as glamour because there is the weapons that are statistically better.
yep.
But in Warframe's case, and of course figuratively speaking, there's 1,001 weapons in Warframe, but it's not like you just gradually move up the scale to get a better weapon, to unlock a better weapon, to unlock a better weapon, like in Final Fantasy. Warframe's case, you level a weapon to get to like mastery rank. I don't know. Let's just say mastery rank 8, and by that point, you have basically 3/4 of the entire arsenal, the entire game unlocked to you.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a Soma Prime with some basic crit ribbons and a half level Serration. Congrats, you beat the game.
Sounds about right.
So it's I think you were talking about with Jizo in your last podcast about how there's just too many damn mods on top of that too in this game now.
Yeah, because we were talking about that Condrix mod set leak that fucking Technical Potato made a video about.
Right. There's there's one thing about Warframe right now is that like if they expect anyone to ever change anything up at this point, they need to either rework or flat out remove like 3/3 of the mods that are in this game at this point. Because you can
Or
add all
you know,
the fancy, like more unique mods in the game that you want, but for people who just want numbers, no one is ever gonna not use Serration or Hornet Strike or Pressure Point. No one is
yeah,
ever gonna not use the critical mods or the status mods. Like, why, on God's earth would I ever use like +10 projectile speed over plus 160% damage and crit from a Riven?
the one example I can think of where you can actually use projectile speed it in a way that isn't a meme build is back when the Zephyr Tonker build was a thing,
Right.
and terminal velocity, which increased the projectile speed of the Tonkor by 60% when it was maxed, if I remember right. That was part of the build. I don't remember why, but apparently the blast made by a faster projectile was. Or, I don't even remember, but supposedly it was better than not having it. I don't remember why.
Like, I don't remember either. I just figured people just liked having a sniper rocket launcher at that point.
Yeah, and then the fucking Tonkor got gutted and was never heard from again until they made the Kuva Tonkor, which is okay in my opinion, but Kuva Brahma's still better.
I mean, at this point, I don't even follow which weapons are better anymore at this point because there's just no point anymore.
Literally just get a ribbon for anything and you're done.
I mean, hell, you don't even need a Riven for half the shit in this game. Like, I could go at least an hour into mods with a unleveled Skana and MK1 Braddon.
No,
Does the Warframe matter? Yeah, probably, but the fact still stands. You can do that kind of thing. That's just how overpowered we are at this point.
no, but I was referring to like how back in the day, a new player could hop into Warframe and say like, "Hey, what's the best weapon in the game?" Everyone would be like, "Oh, Boltor Prime." Nowadays, "Hey, what's the best weapon in the game?" Just get a ribbon, he'll be fine.
Pretty much.
You're
It's
end
like
game ready.
here's a maxed out Serration and a Horn Strike and a Pressure Point. Just pick a gun you think looks cool.
Yep.
And that sucks for so many reasons. But the biggest thing is like, yeah, is that our tier system went from like very especially because there wasn't so many damn weapons, but our tier system went from like a very kind of cut, clean, and dry. This is the best weapon for this reason, and it's only if you have these mods. And nowadays, it's these are the best weapons because they have X amount of damage and crit chance, and that's literally the only reason why.
Hmm.
So again, just goes down to take your pick.
And there's still a bunch of weapons we haven't gotten yet, like the Greenier Chainsaw that Treviro's still crying in the corner for, or that one Corpus gun they showed off that shoots like sticks of radiation or whatever the fuck.
I don't these days. I don't look forward to new melee weapons because at this point they have to create a new class to make anything unique and not just a skin of like a longsword or something.
I literally don't care about any of the weapons. Like melee, honestly, I just use whatever's considered top tier, apart from a few favorites like Reaper Prime, Fang Prime, Glaive Prime, and Destreza Prime. Otherwise, I literally just use whatever the fuck is top tier. Secondaries, regardless of whatever is meta right now, because I don't really know what the fuck is the top tier secondary. I literally just alternate between Oxymandi Prime, Axeletto Prime, Aklex Prime, uh, the Rattleguts kit gun, the Piranha Prime, and the Quats. And,
That's a bigger selection than I have.
and primaries, I literally only ever take like the Vaza Prime or the Exergus. One of those two. Everything else is just fun gun.
Secondaries, all I ever use is Piranha Prime and your Prime. That's literally it anymore these days.
Yeah,
Your phone
Your Phone Prime is still fucking meta. Holy shit.
your Prime when I just need to kill a bitch, and Piranha Prime just to clear out hallways.
Basically.
For primaries, pretty much I'm still stuck with the Corinth and Fullman.
Corinth Prime is okay, although I'm not really digging the alt fire thing. Or at least, or maybe I'm not used to it. I don't fucking know. I haven't played around with it much.
I got used to it pretty fast. What I don't like is the new reload system. I
Yeah,
liked having the individual shell reload system, but now it's basically a clip, so it's like cool. Now I can't shoot in between reloads anymore.
yeah. Honestly, I feel like they could have. I would say borrowed the reload concept from the Icarus Prime, where the Icarus Prime has like if I remember right, like a 24 bullet capacity per mag, and instead of reloading a clip, you literally reload like one shell, and it reloads like your entire fucking thing. So, like, let's say you're firing the Icarus Prime, you shoot, regardless of its, you shoot, then regardless if it's empty or not, you reload and it refills your entire magazine. I feel like they could have done that for the Corinth Prime, where you shoot, then you reload, then regardless if you're empty or not, you load like one shell and it refills your entire magazine.
Hmm.
I feel they could have done that, but obviously because that's different from the shell by shell reload, then the reload could have either been the same or slightly faster, like half a second faster. Having to fucking do like a 3 second long reload, eh, not really a fan. It just kind of makes chilling reload mandatory.
You know what they could have did if they wanted to get adventurous for the first time in years?
What?
They could have did like a little mechanics where like say like if you just tap the reload button, it just reloads a single shell.
Hmm,
Like single shell at a time. But if you hold down the reload button for like I don't know 2-3 seconds, it does the whole clip reload thing.
that would be actually pretty interesting.
So
But
that
at
way you
the
can just tap it for quick tactical reloads and then hold it down for a full reload. That kind of thing. It'd be really simple, really we call it versatile.
it would be funny if like that one guy who just reloads literally shell by shell, so he goes to like 19 shells. Fuck, that would take forever.
You know, but hey, it's something you can do.
That actually would be cool though. Although it would also be kind of cool if they had a firing like gimmick for the gun instead. Like, draw an example from League of Legends, how one of the champions, Jin, his whole thing is his gun has 4 shots before he can reload. But the fourth shot of his gun, it always crits and it always deals like bonus damage based on how low health an enemy has. It would be interesting if they had something like that for the Corinth, where how yeah, keep the whole 20 round magazine thing, but make it so like every other shot or every second shot deals a little bit more damage than the normal one. Then by the time you get to like the 10th shot, which would be like the fifth other shot, it would be like, let's say 40% more damage. And then just make like the last shot in the magazine like deal a fuckload of damage, but it's single target.
I mean, it's possible. It wouldn't be the first time they implemented a type of combo meter type thing for ranged weapons.
But at the same time, that would be overpowered as fuck because it's literally just a continuous damage buff.
True, but well, again, there's no segue to this, but when the last mainline happened, I actually got somewhat hopeful, and of course, I was proven right to be skeptical once again. But the last mainline happened, I was like, okay, so they're adding shield gating, which is great. They're fixing the enemy armor, or Grenier and kind of Corpus armor scaling,
About fucking
which is
time.
great. And they removed self damage from explosive weapons, which, depending your opinion on it, is great in my opinion at least. And what that all told me was that DE had, and Sabuchi in your last podcast, because I watched both of them. Sabuchi very briefly mentioned this. But yeah, the last mainline, it was really cool because it kind of gave the message like DE finally put their foot down if they want the game to be more challenge focused or just more power fantasy focused. So I kind of got the impression that they were like, okay, you know what, this game is a horde, power fantasy horde shooter. So let's just finally take all the damn, restraints off at this point. And I was hopeful because I was like, cool, they finally have a road to go down or something, or a better foundation, I guess, to work off of again. But then again, here we are once again. They're nerfing things for being too OP
Yep.
or too effective or anything like that. It's like it just left me with like that once again like that never mind feeling, I guess.
The never mind feeling, like you say, it's there for a lot of things. Like when they came out with Lunaro in like TennoCon 2016, 2017. During, I even pointed it out in that one collab video I did with Psycho Cinematics, where fucking they did the reveal trailer for Vob and Prime. Everyone was fucking excited. Then they did the reveal trailer for Lunaro. Dead silence. Yeah, yeah, you can argue like everyone's just like they were like either shocked or they just had no idea how to react. But honestly,
Like, okay, this is a thing.
or like, what the fuck is this supposed to be? And 2D's credit, kind of, they did admit in the no clip documentary that uh Lunaro was basically a fucking mistake because nobody plays it. But it's it brings up the point of, if it's fine to be experimental, but like 2019 showed off, being too experimental is fucking boring. Nobody wants that because people want to play Warframe, not hey, let's try doing this the game.
We anyone remember Frame Fighter?
Oh god. I don't think I've even unlocked fucking not Frame Fighter, the other one, Wormius. I don't even think I have it unlocked just because I don't care about it.
What do you call it? Fucking that
Flat.
up. Frame Fighter got like one update to patch some stuff, but it's still broken as hell, and they just don't care because no one plays it.
I like how they. It's the exact same thing they fucking do to Conclave. That's funny.
Like we call it. It's if you go on Frame Fire right now with someone, you literally just have to mash the upper. I think it was like the uppercut combo, and you just stun lock them to death. So any match in Frame Fire, it's basically a match of who hits who first.
Sounds a lot like Smash, but lots less fun.
Yeah,
God.
and remember how they were going on about too, like how they can like host like little tournaments and stuff like that with it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see that went pretty far.
It would be better if they actually want to have tournaments and shit. Just do it for fucking survival missions. Because people out there are kitted out to go like hours long and shit. Just have a tournament of kind of like how I did a year or two ago. That honestly didn't last that long because I got fucking destroyed. But yeah, literally just have like a 1v1 like format tournament where it's literally just whoever survives the longest wins. Anything goes.
Yeah, I mean that'd be pretty cool.
I mean, it'd be boring as fuck to watch, but to play, hell yeah. Put in some good rewards, like fuck it, whoever wins the whole thing gets Prime Chamber. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that mod that used to be worth something.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that, honestly.
Yeah,
So, no, scratch that. Forget Prime Chamber. Fuck it, 100,000 platinum. Fuck it.
I mean, hey, at this point,
Never
that is a
play the
fair
game
reward.
again. Just buy everything. Never play the game again.
If you can go possibly hours in a mod survival or something, then you're probably at the point where you can just use platinum for whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me how during, I don't remember which TennoCon it was, but the giveaway prize they were having as like a raffle was 1,000,000 platinum, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, but who the fuck is ever going to need 1,000,000 platinum? Whoever wins that, they legally don't have to play the game anymore. They can buy everything and still have like 300,000 at least left over.
I was gonna say I don't think there's even 1,000,000 platinum worth of stuff in the market.
Yeah, like the most expensive thing is I'm I'm guessing it's the What Stalker bundle, which is like around 800, 900 platinum, I think.
Yeah, I think that's still where it is.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything in the market that's over 1,000 platinum unless there's something I'm missing.
I mean, you can just go ahead and buy like 5 years of affinity boosters, I guess.
Yeah, you probably still have platinum left over after that. And it was kind of stupid because they could have just done like some Oprah shit. Like everyone who is sitting here in the audience right now, all of you get 1,000 platinum. All of you. That
That would be pretty cool. I mean, it'd be
that
a
would be
bitch
cool. Like
process.
fucking Rebecca comes out like you get 1,000, you get 1,000, you get 1,000. Everybody gets 1,000, but no, one person gets 1,000,000.
Because you gotta think of the people going there. They just people who go to TennoCon spent like something $1,000 for the admission, trying to get into the building, hotel prices, the travel, and especially because TennoCon. Let's be honest here. The main show is basically an overglorified dev stream.
Basically.
So it's like you could at the very least give people something like that to sort of compensate for all the time and money they just spent getting there.
Is it really that expensive to go to TennoCon? Because I figured it was literally just the price of the ticket to fly to Canada, plus the hotel, plus the admission. I figured that was it.
I mean, it varies. Of course, it varies person to person,
Hmm.
depending what tier ticket you get. That kind of thing. That can go up to I think it was like I think the highest was like $100 or $200. I
I
don't remember.
I want to say it was like 30, 40. Maybe I'm thinking of the virtual one. I don't know.
The virtual one, the digital pack was 20, and then the one after that's like 30 or 40. They
Because
basically kind of go off 10 of like platinum prices.
I would like to go to TennoCon eventually, but I have that like the one nagging voice in my mind, like, yeah, you're not gonna fucking come back alive. So
It's
I'm out here like, I think I'll just watch the stream. Thank you.
dude, you think you got it bad like my
What? What
D
happened?
DE is going to be the one that puts you in the ground. It's going to be the community that puts me on the cross and burns it.
Why? What did you do?
What did I not do?
I
Dude,
don't know.
I am like easily the top 3 most hated partners in the Warframe community.
Really? Because I figured, at least just judging off like how frequently names are mentioned, at least in my opinion, I figured top three would be like Gay Guy Plays, Life of Rio, and Free Space.
I don't even know who Free Space is.
No,
Not
free
that someone
no,
if he
I'm
watches this.
no, and Free Space isn't a partner. Free Space like Free Space Bingo.
Oh, okay. I don't know. It might be that Free Space then, because what do you call it? The bulk of my channel is literally just me calling. I mean, this is I'm not trying to sound like a badass or anything like that. Like, this is how people phrase it themselves. So I'm just quoting my audience here. But I've always been the guy who keeps calling out DE for their bullshit, essentially, because they do something stupid. I made a video about it. They keep proceeding to do something stupid. I made a video about it. I was basically dubbed the salty bitch of the community, essentially, next to apparently Dark Muffin and Mugamu, apparently.
Mugamu still plays Warframe?
He makes videos about it on YouTube, but he's on Apex on Twitch most of the time.
I like how the pretty large chunk of the quote unquote like popular slash top slash most viewed partners are like just fucking gone by now.
hmm it's funny. It's funny to think back. Actually, it's funny and sad, but
Yeah.
it's funny to think back how Mugamu used to be like the face of Warframe way
And
back
now
when.
he's just gone.
Like he's probably not the top 5 most hated partners because people just got sick of him. They got
Yeah.
sick of him for being sick of Warframe,
And
and
he got arguably replaced by Tactical Potato and Quiet Shy.
yeah, arguably.
But
Because I mean, but can you blame the guy? He went to like every TennoCon since 2014. He actually went to Digital Extreme Studios to get like a personal interview with the developers and that kind of thing. It's like, what more can the guy hope to achieve regarding Warframe anymore at this point?
get a job working there somehow.
Become a developer. That's the next step.
Like not a programmer, just like some community shit. Cause Rebecca started out as an intern, then eventually she got promoted to community manager.
I mean, hey,
Honestly, I still don't see how that just warrants you as the quote unquote number 3 most hated in the community. Because honestly, I rarely see your name be mentioned nowadays.
well, nowadays you're not gonna see much of me because I haven't uploaded more than like twice this year.
Fair. Still
But
though.
yeah, no, I think my peak time, I think is the best to say, is probably 2018, and yeah, 2018 is pretty much right. My name started getting around.
Because of that one founder video you made?
That was 17, but yeah, like
Ah,
the founder video got me on the map, but everything else has just been, I don't know. I like to think, I like to tell myself, it's just me giving criticisms about, etc., what was going on. Like, just like going through my channel right now. Um, like when Revenant first came out, I was disappointed, because it's your thing. It's all opinionated, of course. But I thought Revenant was very lackluster. The now infamous sentient Warframe, the Warframe based off of the lore's most prominent bad guy, villain, antagonist, etc.
the nullifier?
Is no,
I'm kidding.
might as well be at this point. But
Basically.
yeah, like I was just basically going like, okay, this is supposed to be like the bad guy themed Warframe, and he's a freaking ballerina that makes sort of zombies better than Nyx.
Yeah,
Cool,
it's like they just looked at a battle list or whatever the fuck is that sentient enemy that spins around and shoots lasers, and they said, "Make that a warframe."
pretty much.
Eh, and everyone was like, "He's okay," and Trivios is like, God, I still remember how on the partner Discord, Trivios was legit going ham just with suggestions and shit of how Revenant could be a better warframe,
He
and
was trying so
yeah,
hard.
I remember seeing that one animation he made. I'm like, yeah, he's actually being fucking serious, and D didn't do anything. Oh my god, I feel
They
bad for him
didn't
still.
even like acknowledge him or talk to him about it, or like say like, could you emphasize what you mean by this, or just to be sure on, nah, just nothing, absolutely
Yeah, and he
nothing.
was actually trying to get a hold of him with that shit, and they didn't do anything. Meanwhile, like fast forward like a year and a half later, I didn't ping a single D employee on Twitter, and they just found my fucking Vauban rework guide. It makes no sense sometimes, honestly.
It's ridiculous. It really is. It's absolutely. They're inconsistent. That's always the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's like sometimes the best way to get something done is to literally never mention it at all. It's weird as
And
shit.
that's why that's another reason why that one partner I mentioned at the beginning of this is leaving, just because the partner Discord, especially, like, I'm not
Yeah,
gonna say it's a joke,
it's fucking dead.
but yeah, there is maybe 4 or 5 partners there at this point, not even including me anymore at this point, that actually will try to do their damnedest to leave detailed feedback there. And unless your feedback is the update is perfect, please don't change anything, it never gets acknowledged.
Sounds about right. I'm
And
still
it
I'm
drives me nuts.
still gonna try to guess who the fucking partner is though, or you can at least just fucking tell me after this.
I'll tell you after this, but you can feel free to guess.
Uh, okay, I'm gonna fucking. If I actually do get it, are you gonna tell me if I guess?
Nope.
All right, then I'm not gonna bother. Then, god damn it, fuck. Fucking. Actually, now that I think about it, a pretty decent amount of partners have already left, or at least back when it was called the fan channel program. Like I can think of like Bouse Phoenix when he was around, Cover Up when he was around, the Fake KO when she was around, Mike B, old as fuck. I honestly don't even know if anyone else remembers him.
I haven't
Uh,
seen or heard of Fate in a long time.
Fate is actually on my Discord.
Really?
Yeah, she's online right now, but she's set to Do Not Disturb.
Hmm.
But yeah, she basically dropped off Warframe, and I honestly miss her because a lot of people they uh there's like kind of like a huge misconception kind of that people are like, oh, you only made your channel because Kwai exists. No, not really. Her thing is to be funny. Mine, I mean, there are times when I try to be funny, but that's not my main shtick. If anything, Fake KO was kind of the reason why I started my channel because she kind of served as proof that, hey, you can record videos with text to speech and people will watch you. I'm like, oh, cool, I can try that, and I'm here.
Yeah, Warframe kind of coined the text to speech YouTuber, so to say.
Arguably, the whole dank MLG meme things pioneered that, but yeah, that's arguable.
Because I can't think of another community that has like as many text to speech YouTubers than Warframe.
That actually is
Uh,
a good point. Yeah,
but what do you call it? I'm trying. You got me trying to think back of different partners that we haven't seen or heard from in forever now at this point.
yeah, like meme sage, honestly. And
Yeah.
it's weird because in that one video I made about in the video I made, Petty Perspective, Warframe Partners leaving again. That one video I made, I briefly mentioned Meme Sage as one of the partners who left, and literally like a day or two later, he uploaded the video saying I'm not dead, and he hasn't, like, last I checked, uploaded anything since then. I don't understand what the point of that was.
I mean, I get it. Like, especially right now, I especially get it because, again, I'm in the same boat where I basically gave my finger the Warframe itself, saying like, I'm done. I'm like the video I put out that got, let's see, it's almost like 300,000 views now. 300,000 people watched that, but I still get people telling me, "Oh, I thought you quit Warframe." But
Hmm.
tangenting. Shit, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I was gonna say like, even though I basically said, I'm done trying to help DE anymore at this point, as far as like give feedback or anything. Um, you still, especially if if you have an active community, you still want to interact with your community,
Yeah.
even if the community is mostly around a game that you've grown to actually kind of hate at this point. It's like, you don't spend, in my case for this example, you don't spend 3 years building up a audience just to say okay bye one day,
Yeah.
because then it'd be like quitting Warframe. That's actually a good example. You spend something thousand hours and that much work and money into putting this kind of thing together. It's not exactly something you can just drop and then pretend like it never happened.
Or you do whatever the fuck you want and have a real life job. That way you don't have to rely on like one game for your income.
Yeah, see, that's why in my case, I don't plan to do YouTube professionally anymore because it's just so goddamn unstable at this point. Not
Yep.
just because of Warframe's lack of content to be made from, but YouTube is just so freaking. YouTube doesn't know what it does to do anymore, especially after that whole Copa scare.
Yeah,
I had to.
it's about as stable as the Venezuelan economy.
Yeah, after that whole Copa scare thing, I was like, oh great, now I'm gonna have the FCC breathing down my neck to make sure everything's not or is kid friendly and that kind of shit.
Yeah, honestly, just do what I do. Just needlessly curse and just mark everything as not for children.
Yeah, that's kind of the way to do it now. But don't curse too much, or else you get demonetized.
I don't monetize my content at all, so honestly, I could care less.
Yeah, so you're in a green boat there. Me,
I know.
this is still my only check, but
I still
in my
feel. Uh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna end up with like in my case, I'm gonna join my fire department by the end of this year.
Cool.
That's my goal at the moment. That way, I can just do YouTube and video games in general back to just being a hobby.
Sounds about right.
But
There've
yeah,
actually there've actually been several times where I've considered, like, I wonder what would happen if I just stop uploading completely. I've honestly been thinking about that a few times, and I'm kind of scared of that whole thing. Not of the whole I want to quit train of thought. More like what's gonna happen if Warframe like actually like fucking goes under like 2 years from now. As someone who, again, I don't make any money off the fucking game making videos, but I still like to do it. So it's like, what the fuck am I gonna do now? Since the game's gone, and that's kind of what my channel is known for. It's like, do I just fucking leave or try something else?
I mean, yeah, what do you call it? That's why I told a couple other partners too, like, no game is gonna last forever. World of Warcraft is sure as hell trying, but even that game's, on a downward slope.
That's just because Blizzard's running it into the ground.
Right, but that's kind of it's just another factor as to why no game's gonna last forever.
Minecraft
So
would like to know your location.
fair enough, but I look at these YouTubers, for these Warframe YouTubers who are living off of this, and it's just like, what y'all gonna do when this game dies?
Yeah. I kind of feel
Uh,
bad for everyone who has a Patreon for this shit.
yeah, because I mean, shit, I was one. I'm still technically, but it's a gray area. It's a gray area right now, but I was one of them, and it's like, yeah, what do you do when your audience is hell bent on Warframe? Because and I know you've had several other guys tell you this too. If it's not Warframe, no one's gonna watch it,
Yeah.
and it's like, that's kind of why it's so hard for Warframe partners in particular, because I know it's the same case for most single game focused channels, but I don't know, something about Warframe, the Warframe community specifically is like such a die-hard loyal fan base where if it's not Warframe, you can't get them to even try it for 2 minutes or 2 seconds even.
Yeah, that is actually one thing that, or it reminds me a little bit of something else of how 2 years ago or so, remember that one video that was going around made by some guy called Gamertron Show where he was talking about how the only real problem with Warframe is how the community is toxic.
Yeah,
Yeah, that reminds me of one specific point he made where he said that the community literally only wants Warframe content and nothing else, which is why a lot of content creators like Mugamu and others, they have trouble like trying to adapt to other things because they technically run their channel for money, not as like a career, but as like a form of as a form of living. And whenever they try to branch off to other stuff, they have problem keeping up with money because again, their community just wants Warframe and nothing else. And
right.
it kind of interestingly carries over to today where fucking as much as like everyone is shitting on the game, you could still upload and get views because apparently negativity is a thing that everyone wants to watch, which is
Yeah,
interesting in my
it's
opinion.
I am living proof of that right now. Like, I mentioned it before, like, if I wanted to, if I was just desperate enough for money right now, like I was gonna lose the house in a week or something kind of thing, I can just easily make 5 different rant videos about Warframe, all bitching about the same thing. And I can guarantee you each and every single one of them is going to get at least 20 to 30 to 40,000 views.
If I, for whatever fucking reason, wanted views, honestly, I feel like I could just crank out the Corruption of Digital Extremes Part 2, and that shit would probably get like 50,000 in like a day.
It would. It would. There really isn't a maybe anymore at this point. Like,
Yeah,
people
which honestly, it makes me bring up the question of if the game really is doing that bad, why is everyone so seemingly interested in watching videos where the game just gets shit on?
You just asked a question I've been asking for 2 years now.
Like,
I
I get the sorry to interrupt, but I
No,
get
you're
the
good.
precipice of people like watching the developers get like shit on, but when it results in the game itself being like destroyed, I don't see what the payoff is.
See, we call it all of my videos, almost all of them where I talk about Warframe in a negative light. Um, there is at least usually 30 to 40 comments that all start with, "I quit Warframe X months or years ago," and I just can't help but kind of sit there and wonder, like, okay, thanks for the view, but why are you watching Warframe videos then if you haven't like touched this game in a year?
Probably because a surprising amount of people they still keep up with Warframe stuff. Like there's a decent number of people in my comment section from other videos recently I made that say like, "Hey, I stopped playing Warframe, but I still want you to keep up with Warframe." I guess it's because it's made out of a need of if the game gets like a really good update, like on the level of the second Dream, or if something comes out that piques your interest again. I guess that's why they still kind of keep up.
I guess that that makes sense because if you ain't playing it, then I guess yeah, YouTubers will be your only way to know what's going on.
Like very crude example, but it makes me think of how hypothetically speaking, if you got a divorce but you still keep in touch with them,
Yeah, I can see that.
that's at least just a very like a skewed way of how I see it.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Like shit, it's like I mean, hell, I think everyone's used this example already, saying how Warframe is kind of like an abusive relationship at this point.
Because it is an abusive relationship.
You know, you say you're done with it, you're done with it, you leave it, you go buy your own house somewhere in the hills and all that, and then they call back saying, "Hey, I'm lonely. Also, I have a new update," and boom, you're rolling right back.
Sounds about right.
Rinse and repeat 56 times a year.
But it's different nowadays, kind of, because at least back in the day when there wasn't really much stuff going on, or at least D didn't really have any idea what they wanted to do, they could kind of just like drop shit and move on. Like when Arcwing first came out and not many people really liked it, they kind of got away with like not really focusing content on it or even really touching it, which is why we still to this day don't really have like many weapons for Arcwing or many Arcwings in general. They
Right.
That kind of repeated itself with Railjack, where it came out and barely anyone liked it, let alone wanted to touch it. And now they're kind of stuck in a position where they can't really back out of it like they did with Arcwing because Railjack, they themselves said, would be like an integral part of content and shit, especially with the upcoming new war. So now it's like they have to dig themselves out of a hole they themselves made compared to the last time where they could have just jumped out of it.
You know what really strikes me as weird? Like something I cannot try to figure out at this point anymore.
What is?
How is it when DE was this small little I shouldn't say DE as a whole, but like how was it with the Warframe team was this small little office renting out a building from Digital Extremes when they were like a dev team of like 10 to 30 people? How were they able to pump out content like a new weapon? Remember how new weapons came out every Wednesday back then?
No, I wasn't around way back then.
Uh,
I joined up when Nyx Prime was the newest Prime XS, which I want to say was like late to early.
2013,
No, 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 no. I want to say it was like late 2014, maybe
14.
early 2015.
Yeah, I think that sounds more right. But
Yeah.
well, yeah, like when they were like this tiny little dev team, they put out a new weapon every Wednesday, had like a new event going on like every month, and there was just always something going on at least once a month, you know, kind of thing. Hell, I still remember when the new melee system came out. You know how excited I was for the new melee system, Melee 2.0?
No, I wasn't.
I was in high school still. I got up at like 3 in the morning just to play Warframe before I had to go to school to test out the new melee system.
Wow.
Like that was how hyped me and so many people were for this game. My friend did the same thing. Like we were all so hyped to see how this game was just changing and improving at such a rapid pace, you know. So why is it now with DE being having its own building, as you said in a previous podcast, make well enough money to host their own convention, their own self-funded convention every single year with a dev team of like 150 to 200 people. How is it while they're doing this well apparently, they can't release more than one or two or three different things a year without it being absolutely broken and like borderline unplayable anymore at this point?
You actually don't know why?
I don't.
It's because they have shitty management, dude.
Well, I figured that was a given.
No, that is literally the reason. Like, fucking go, like I said, like I keep saying, you can hop on the Glassdoor website for Digital Extremes right now, read through every single review, and the number one most negative remark you'll find: bad management. That's the number one thing you'll see across the board: bad management, and
I
that's just kind
believe
of
it.
trickled down over the years, I suppose.
I believe it because yeah, that's just always that's just been the thing that's really boggled the mind is like how did that tiny little building with an office full of nice Canadians go from making this bomb ass game to an actual development company that can buy my house that can't do one thing right anymore at this point.
Mm, evolution, I suppose.
Evolution gone wrong.
Or probably because they don't really keep in touch with the game like they used to, because it's easier to understand how people view a game, and it's way easier to understand how the players think if the development team is smaller, because obviously the smaller a team is, the more focused and a responsive you have to be to player feedback, because obviously if you're a small team and if you fuck up something, people are going to stop caring because they're going to be like, oh, they're out of touch. But if you're a small team and you listen to literally every single thing the players want to do or say and apply that to your work, then not only does that show that you're responsive, but it also encourages people to stick around, which is, in my opinion, part of the reason why a lot of people view the Second Dream as like the pinnacle of Warframe update history, because back then the team was smaller, their ambitions were more reasonable, and they considerably listened to the community feedback more frequently compared to today, where they can pump out like three shitty updates in a row and still not have to worry about anything Destiny 2 is doing.
True. That is true. Right now, Destiny is like their only sort of comparable competition right now.
Yeah, but isn't Destiny 2 like supposedly doing bad? I mean, I don't play it, but I've heard it's not exactly doing so hot right now.
It's on a little bit of a downslope right now, but it's still not as bad as Warframe's doing right now.
Mm.
Because Destiny, I think a big part of it is that they have a very active PvP community. So
Uh,
the PV, even though the content is kind of slow, they still have their whole ranks and like PvP ranks and things to kind of get good at.
yeah.
So that keeps people playing for a long time.
It just makes me miss other games like Firefall and Spiral Knights even more. Because that was like multiplayer I could have gone through for fucking days on end and still not gotten bored.
I hear you. What do you call it?
Yeah, it makes me
Right now,
glad that fucking Mark Kern is developing Ember as like a spiritual successor to Firefall, and literally every single time they like update their dev build, they release a completely new build for people to try. It's fucking fun.
I know Fantasy Star right now is apparently going to be on the map pretty soon.
Hmm.
One of my friends is really hyped about that.
If anything, I'm still hyped about the fucking Final Fantasy XIV expansion coming out next year.
Yeah. What do you call it? There's no segue to this, but I know this is the third time I said that. But I had a funny realization about something that I was gonna make a video about, or at least mention in a video I made.
Hmm.
Was regarding the Scarlet Spear. Was kind of like the reward to time. There's a proper term for this, like time to reward ratio, essentially.
You
How
mean
much
just
reward you, yeah,
efficiency?
yeah, like how like we're like how much do you get for spending X amount of time doing something?
Ah,
Like in Scarlet Spear's case, for every 30 minutes you spend doing the ground mission, you are now able to buy one arcane. So and before someone says like, yes, I know they give you the payout at the end of it, but then you have to wait an hour for it to come back again before you can get that payout again. But I did the math on paper somewhere. Like, if those payouts weren't a thing, and this is before they buffed the price payout a little bit, it would take a person 60 hours to get one of everything.
yeah, I only care about the event for the new weapons. That's it.
Yeah, and the weapons alone, but that would the weapons alone would take a couple hours to get. Like, it's ridiculous. But I was thinking because have you done anything in the firm? I can't say that word, firmament in Final Fantasy 14.
You mean Ishgard Restoration?
Yeah.
No, I have not. I mean, I did a little bit, but honestly, I just use it mostly as a way to just level my fucking crafting classes.
Exact. Yeah. We call it. I was sitting there leveling blacksmith, and I just realized like I'm spending 30 minutes clicking these macro buttons because I have the crafting recipes macroed to get the most quality out of them.
Yeah,
And it's dawning on me like, I'm just sitting in this little corner, just hammering away, built, making 1,000 freaking hammers for this restoration bullshit going on. But it's dawning on me like, yes, this is slow, it's boring, it's tedious, and it makes me slowly fall asleep watching a video on the side of on the other monitor or something. But the payout you get for it makes it all worth it
y-
because you spend 30 minutes making 50 something hammers or for blacksmith for example, and you level up freaking like 7 to 8 times. You get a bunch of scripts that give you a bunch of rewards from the vendor. On top of that, you get these little scratch off tickets that let you get house furniture, crafting materia, outfits. And then again, there's the whole reward vendor on the side that gives you even more outfits, more mounts, housing credit, an entire list of materia, dyes. And it's like, yeah, that was 30 minutes I spent pressing two buttons, but I sure as shit got a ton of things out of it.
yeah. Honestly, most of the reason why I'm even interested in the Ishgard restoration is because or at least it's a conspiracy theory going around that when they're done, they're gonna introduce Ishgard housing.
It's not a theory, that's a confirmed thing.
Really?
Yep, Ishgard housing is basically what we're doing this for.
Because I really want to move there because I have a house in the Goblet in Oldar right now, and I really want to move, or at least literally anywhere else that's open. I want to move my house because I mean the Goblet's not bad. It's just like I
Yeah.
feel Ishgard would be cooler, or at least fucking if a spot opened up in Shirogane.
Is nice, but yeah, I'm curious to see how the Ishgard thing's gonna go because if you're gonna move the Ishgard, you better like snow because it never stops snowing there.
Nah, if anything, I'm pretty sure they're gonna do the same way they did it last time they opened up new housing wards, which is basically like first few days it's literally just free companies only, and then after that everyone else can come in.
um, maybe because there is a if you go actually if you actually go out to the firm and you look out the side, you can kind of see the little squares where it's gonna be. Actually, my buddy did message me the actual map they have in mind
Yeah, I saw the
like
picture going around too.
housing. But
It would
yeah,
be funny as fuck if I could grab the fucking mansion, like literally a big ass house meant for a free company just for me. That'd be funny as fuck.
hell, do it.
If I can, I will fucking do it just to flex on everyone else.
You can be like my neighbor who has my neighbor is literally this one Lalafell that painted his entire house like the brightest freaking pink he can get. And
Really?
it's like one of those like triple decker houses in the lavender beds.
What fucking realm do you play on?
I'm on Crystal Coral.
Uh, wait, Crystal Coral? What?
Data Center Crystal World Coral. I think that's how it
Oh,
is.
coral. I thought you meant coral like the coral reef, not coral like the animal.
Coral like the animal.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I'm. Fuck, hang on. I need to look up the goddamn fucking realm names again because I don't keep track of this shit.
me neither. I just know it's Crystal Coral. Usually people know what I'm talking about.
Uh, I'm Aether Midgard Stormer.
Hmm.
I want to say it's like one of the fucking packed worlds, but then again, I'm not quite sure. I don't know what exactly passes as overpopulated servers nowadays. Besides Balmung, I know that Balmung's fucking packed.
I think Aether is one of the more busier ones just because it's one of the older ones.
Yeah, there was actually a time when I was considering literally just fucking account transferring to like the least populated server possible just to get a house. But then I was literally just going around the housing market subreddit looking around, and one medium plot just happened to be opened, and I scooped that shit up as soon as I could.
Nice.
Yeah, and now I'm just hoping I can move to Ishgard because honestly, Ishgard is by far my favorite fucking city state.
I mean, as long as you got the house, you literally just gotta transfer it over. So
Yeah, I know. I
you're
really
already a
hope.
step ahead.
I'm hoping they don't do that fucking free company housing shit first.
Have to wait and see.
Yeah, and I like how fucking the closest thing we get to fucking housing in Warframe is the Lizette, and even then, you don't get much room to work with.
Yeah, I've seen some decent sets, and I've seen some less than like. Why did you even bother trying sets?
Yeah, most of the time, people just go for like a hoarder thing.
Yeah, mine's kind of middle of the road. It has some junk piled up here and there, but at least I try to make it look somewhat nice.
Yeah, it does make me wonder, like, if they ever tried going for a player housing thing in Warframe, I wonder how that would work.
I bet you anything, it would just be a glorified mini dojo.
Probably, yeah. Maybe some kind of instance system, like how Elder Scrolls Online does it.
Probably.
That's just me, though. I don't really, now that I think about it, see much point for a player housing system, given that the Lizette basically is your house.
Yeah. I mean it's one of those things that they could do, but immediately rings the question, why would you do it ever?
Yeah, unless for whatever fucking reason the Duviri Paradox update makes it so now you have to feed your operator and shit. So now Warframe is a Tamagotchi simulator.
Oh god, don't give them ideas.
They don't listen to this shit. Don't worry about it.
No,
That is,
they won't listen to it. They're just gonna feel it. Like Steve's gonna be sitting in his office and he's be like, "You know, what would be a really good idea. We have to feed the operator." I don't know why. I just thought of it just now.
yeah. Barring the fact that they're literally like probably hundreds, thousands of years old in a fucking barely teenager body, if even you have to feed them.
Oy.
God fucking damn it.
You know, I'm Michael. I don't know how much longer you want to go, but like, that's one. I think that's one thing that Warframe. That's one thing that Warframe could still save, so to say, is their lore and story, because they haven't touched that shit in years, and it's easily one of the best aspects of the game.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm actually I've gone from hyped to just nervous about the very paradox and New War, because I really want that to succeed, because I want to know like where this story and lore is going at this point, because I have no freaking idea what's even happening anymore.
Pretty sure it's just gonna be another open world zone, but the thing about it is gonna be your operator is gonna go through like space puberty or whatever the fuck. You're gonna get the ability to use guns while in operator mode, which, unless you lose your powers for whatever fucking reason, makes no sense because why the fuck would you ever use a gun over your fucking operator gun? And we'll get horses or some shit, which is probably gonna either be a upgrade to K Drive or some other thing you can just forget about.
Oh yeah, K drives exist.
Yeah. I really don't know what the point of a K Drive is apart from mastery rank.
You said it right there, mastery rank.
Yeah, but I remember that one video that Triburos made where you could turn K Drive into kind of like a combat vehicle, where his idea was if a K Drive can't beat an Arcwing in terms of speed, then let it be better than an Arcwing in terms of like damage.
Yeah, like a really simple solution to that would like make K drive like a melee weapon kind of thing, and like have it where like you do these crazy tricks that like shoot like it has an extendable blade or something, and you do these tricks to get like bonus critical damage at something. I don't know,
That would
I'm
be
just
cool.
spitballing, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I
Mm,
doubt it though, because they got other things to worry about.
I mean, have you ever played the PS2 game Jack and Daxter?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, the hoverboard had a mechanic like that, where if you actually did a trick on something, it would actually count as a.
I vaguely remember that, but I think so, yeah.
So it's not a hard thing to implement. It would give you a reason to use it at least, so you just don't get shot out of the sky or something.
Yeah, or at least fucking they could make it so some parts of a tile set require like a K drive to access. I don't fucking know. Like
It
bringing up the fucking hoverboard example you got from Jack and Dexter. One of the things I really loved about it was how some parts of the game actually like demanded you use it, otherwise you couldn't progress. Like especially the temple level where they introduce it to you and they had the rails everywhere. That was fucking fun.
Yeah, that was pretty damn cool. Yeah, like you got me thinking. That's one of the yeah, another one of the issues with the game is that like when people say Warframes are OP, we're not just talking about their damage and invulnerabilities and all that. They're just OP in every literal possible aspect, including mobility. Like you said, like when you point out with Vauban's vector pad and Zephyr's dash and all that, like why would any why would any mobility ability matter anymore when bullet jumping is a thing now?
And Titania can just kind of ignore
Titania just
Arcwing.
flat out
Yeah,
flies.
she can just fly. Meanwhile, Zephyr just gets a fucking hover.
Yeah, I mean,
Feels bad, man.
we call it those. That would have made if bullet jumping wasn't a thing. Yeah, the cage rise would have had a really actual bigger part for open worlds because your only alternative would be Arcwing, and you might not have Arcwing unlocked by the time you're in Venus.
Mm,
Speaking from a new player's perspective,
yeah.
which is why sometimes I really wonder if but Warframe would be better off if they went back to their old movement system.
Oh god, no. People will be mad.
People will be mad, but they're gonna be mad about anything they do. So why not?
No, but
let's just
no,
piss
but
off everyone.
especially like introducing Parkour 2.0, letting everyone get used to bullet jumping, and then just taking that away. That would
Well,
legitimately upset people.
maybe not take it away, so to say, completely, but you know, pull some stuff back, so to say. Like maybe
Don't
put bullet
know.
jumping on a cooldown or something like that.
That would be a terrible idea if I had to be honest.
I'm just spitballing here.
Reminds me of how they wanted to nerf the Itzel because everyone was using the Itzel for Blink, and then they decided to, instead of nerfing it, to just give Blink to everything but put it on a cooldown, which didn't solve the problem. It just made it annoying because instead of spamming it, you just spam it and hope that you hit it before it comes off cooldown.
Right.
Putting a movement ability on cooldown, I mean, it can work in some circumstances, like in Guild Wars 2, how you can dodge attacks by just pressing the evade button at like the proper time. But that's for combat. For just general movement, moving around, putting that on the cooldown, that is just kind of stupid.
True, but it would be kind of like sprint on Final Fantasy in a sense. 'Cause that's one of the main
Yeah,
reasons. That's kind of what gives mounts a purpose is that you can't just sprint to everything.
yeah, but that's because at first you sprint around everywhere, then you get your first mount, which is the fucking Grand Company Chocobo, and then you either eventually unlock faster mount speed or you just teleport everywhere.
That's true.
If anything, mounts kind of become useless once you have all the Aetherites unlocked because you can literally just teleport everywhere, and if you need to get somewhere that isn't in a town, then just you pull out your flying mount for like 20 seconds and you put it away.
Yeah, I mean, we call it that. I do get it. It does get to the point where like mounts are just to help get from point A to point B from a crystal, but
Yeah,
I don't know. Like I said, I was just kind of spitballing. Like I'm sure there is a way to roll back the over effectiveness of the current parkour system to actually give mobility mobility abilities and K drives and Arc Wings a better purpose. But as far as what they have to do and all that, I don't know. I'm not a freaking game developer.
bring back stamina. That's how you do it.
I mean, hey, I played the game with stamina. I can do it again.
Oh god, I honestly would rather not after being used to not having to deal with that shit anymore. Oh god, I actually would not want to do that.
The tiny green health bar, the tiny green bar of death.
Fuck that shit.